Hi, welcome to Pod of Mercy. I am your host, Longhair Linda, and today's very special guest co-host is...
everybody's favorite uncle. It's Tony D.
Tony D, you're back. Hello, how are you?
I'm all right. It's same old, you know?
Same old.
Yeah, but
I'm
good.
so happy that you're here. I know, it's been a really, really long time. You were one of my much earlier episodes where we met up right before. Was it All-Star? Was it All-Star that event was?
I thought it was the Serious Jones Shotty John event. I don't know what the event was called.
I don't know if it was All-Star or like an Apex or something like that.
Yeah, it was that event though. I don't know what it was. It was a long time. It was 2019 now.
It was 2019, so we met up.
COVID. Yeah, long time.
Long time. I know, it's so crazy.
You got me drunk during the interview, and I had to go home and write a third round for Serious Jones.
I did. Yeah. Sorry about that. In my defense, it was literally the night before. You should have had the third round already. That's not on me.
Look who you're talking to, though. Like I am the guy who writes his third round the day before. So yeah, but it all worked out well. Well, except for him, he didn't work out well at all. No, but yeah, it happened. It was all right.
For you, it was great. So that's what we really care about.
That's exactly that.
That was fun. That was back when I used to do in-person recordings, had no visuals, and so I would just be like, "Oh my god, thanks guys for taking the time out." Because usually we'd have to meet somewhere as well, so I would always have like drinks. So yeah, my fault. I think I got you a bottle of whiskey.
You did indeed.
Yeah. Right. Well, I don't know if you remember this. I don't even know if we got to this last time, so I think I had a couple of drinks that day as well. But we get started off with a rapid fire round here, Tony. So it's going to be 45 seconds, and you're going to have to answer 10 questions in that time. Do you think you can do it?
Well, it depends on what the questions are about. Like if it's quantum physics, then we're going to struggle here. But
listen, I'm not going to ask you a quantum physics question because I don't understand it. So I won't be able to say if you were right or wrong with that, to be honest. It's very straightforward things about yourself, just so that the audience and myself can get to know you a bit more. Maybe questions to some of these that I don't know the answer to already. So that will be fun to know. Oh. But you have 45 seconds. So if you do it in that time, then you win. If you don't, then I win. There's no prizes, just bragging rights over here.
I like winning though. This is
what I like. Yes. I want people that want to win regardless of whether there's a prize or not. Okay, cool. So I'm going to get my 45 seconds on the timer ready to go. And then as soon as I say go and start asking the first question, that's when the timer starts. Okay. Got it? Cool. All right. And go. Would you rather marry someone attractive and boring or ugly and fun?
It's ugly and fun.
What's your best feature?
My big nose.
Would you rather be a famous singer or a famous comedian?
Singer.
What's your favorite sandwich filling?
Beef and onion.
Would you rather be able to fly or turn invisible?
I gotta go with invisible.
Travel to the past or to the future?
Ooh, past.
Would you rather have scaly skin or fur?
Fur.
One thing you regret spending money on?
Weed.
Fair. Okay. Oh, that was 8 questions. The timer has just gone. You had 2 left. You didn't win, I'm afraid.
Hold on. 10 seconds. This was 10 questions and 45 seconds. So it's 4.5 seconds.
Per question.
Okay. I thought I was doing
better.
It's
tough.
Yeah, that is very tough.
How many people have won? I've got some.
How many people have won? Like, how many people have beat you?
It's quite a few.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But you know what? No, I was just going to say some of these questions are a bit wordy, so maybe it took me a little longer to read them because that can affect it too. So
that's the answer we're going with.
That's what it is. So we're just going to ask the remaining 2 questions and we're going to just pretend that you did it. Okay. No problem. What actor would play you in a movie?
Oh man, I don't actually know any actors, so I'm just going to say Matt Damon. Yeah.
And what's the most random fact you know?
I don't look like Matt Damon.
That's fair.
It's the most random fact I know. Oh, that when you smell, it's actually your taste buds. So if you walk into the toilet after somebody else and you smell their doo-doo, you're actually tasting it.
Yep, little droplets in the back of your throat. It's disgusting.
It's foul. It's grim.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was a gross fact, but it was a random fact. Thank you for answering our questions here, Tony. I did have a question. What did you say your favorite sandwich filling was? You said it was beef and onion.
Beef and sliced raw onion with salt and pepper on it.
All right.
Oh no! Do you know what? I'm not gonna lie. This week I discovered a new sandwich that I forgot about. Bacon, egg, and fried plantain. It is a 10.
I can see that being good.
It's a 10-10 sandwich. It's outstanding.
That makes sense. The sweetness of the plantain makes. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Okay. I've had it 3 times this week. It's that good.
Once you discovered it, you're like, well,
yeah, I'm going. Plus, I got this plantain in the house. Do you know what I mean? You got to eat the plantain quick, innit?
No, you have to eat it. Yeah, that's literally the reason I don't buy it, because I don't want it enough to eat it that much, like in a short space of time before it goes bad. So yeah,
2 whole plantains this week, which seems kind of excessive, right?
It's a little bit. A little bit, but that's okay. It's okay. It's all right. I'm so excited for today's episode, Tony, because we are going to be talking about our top 5 childhood memories. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was putting my list together, it wasn't necessarily like great, like my favorite memories, but it's just more so what popped out while I was thinking of this list and what was kind of standing out to me. So I don't know, what kind of method did you go with for your list?
I kind of thought, like, rather than specific incidences, like, oh, the time I went to Fort Park was great. It was kind of memories from the era that I just enjoyed. I look back and I think, what a great time that was. So yeah, I kind of, it's just, my childhood wrapped up in a neat little bundle, I think.
Perfect. All right. Well, let's start with one of yours. We'll go with one of yours, and then we'll go to me, and then we just go until we run out.
No problem. I will start with probably the most wholesome one. Just like every Sunday, we'd go to, this is what we do. We go to church. Then we would go to a Western themed pub. It was a country and Western pub. And then we'd go to my nan's house for Sunday dinner every Sunday. And all of my aunts and uncles and my cousins would be there. There was a football pitch, a concrete little football pitch by my nan's house. So again, all the uncles, all the cousins would all go downstairs and would play football for like 2 hours. Then we'd come upstairs and have like tea that was after our dinner. And it's just a great, great time. Like now, the family's all fractured and everywhere, and everyone's doing their own thing and stuff. And there's nothing like it. Nothing exists like it anymore. So yeah, I just think back to that time. It was just the greatest time of my life.
I feel like that kind of, unfortunately, that kind of era is gone, isn't it? Where like families actually would hang out. Like for me, like even just like family friends. I remember just, my mum's friends and their kids, we'd just always be hanging out. And I don't think people do that now, really.
No, we don't. I don't, to be fair, like my mum, there would always be people in and out of my house. My mum's friends, my friends, always in and out. Now, me as an adult, I don't like people coming to my house. I just don't like it. Stay away. So I think I'm part of that generation that's ruined it, because I just don't want people in my house. When people come to your house, like, you've got to kick them out again at a particular time. Do you know what I mean? And it always just seems awkward. Like, you're just sitting there looking at I don't even wear a watch, and I'm sitting there like doing this. Like, it's time for you to go now. So yeah, it's probably down to me that a lot of that stuff doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, I think something happened to us all, like around our sort of generation. Like, I feel like something happened to where it's like we don't really want people in our house. Like, we miss the times of going to people's houses and all that kind of stuff. That was always a pleasant memory for us. But we don't want to recreate that. Like, now that we're adults and we have our own places, I don't want you in my house like that. I'm gonna be honest.
Because it's all like, I go to bed early. Do you know what I mean? It's like sometimes I have friends like they don't like to go to bed at regular times. So it's 11 o'clock. How come you still here?
Trying to hang out?
Yeah, why you still here? It's Tuesday. You know, like
that's too much.
It's time. Yeah, it's too much. They're doing way too much.
That's too much.
So I think it's us. We did it. We ruined it for everybody.
We did. I think you're right. All right. Well, one of my memories, so my first one is I nearly drowned in the sea. I'm not sure if this was in Kenya or if this was in Djibouti. This doesn't sound like a great story. But the reason this sticks out in my mind is because I was really young. I could kind of swim a little bit, but not really. Like I could swim in like a pool for kids.
In a pool,
right? Different swimming,
Not the river.
Yes, not yeah. So very, very different swimming, not oceans. So we were at the beach, and it was my mum and her friend and her friend's kids. So obviously, we were all hanging out. My friend had armbands, and I had this ring. Right. So I had one of those like rings that like she was like, oh, it's so nice. Da, da, da. So me being stupid and a child, I was like, yeah, okay, you can have it. So I take the ring off myself and put it on her because I can kind of tread water a bit here, but then I don't know what happened. Some kind of wind picked up or tide picked up.
River.
I don't know.
You in a river.
I know. And immediately started drowning. So I'm now like I have this, the reason I picked this memory is because it's so vivid in my head. It was a really, really like beautiful sunny day. And I remember I was like going under the water. And I was like, okay, I can't get out of this. I'm really, really young. And I just remember seeing the biggest hand I think I've ever seen in my life just sort of grab me out of the water. And it was my mum. And that visual, I think, has stuck with me for some reason. Every now and again, I was even just telling someone about this the other day. Every now and again, it would just pop in my head of that hand. Like it felt like a hand of God coming to get me. And just, like I'm just feeling that, like, I don't know, water all over me, not being able to get out. And then seeing like the sun, I guess, from through the water and then the hand coming through. That's just a very vivid memory for me. So I thought I'm going to include it in this list.
I imagine, like, what was the fear? Like, you ever been asleep and the blanket falls over your face while you're sleeping, and in your dream you can't breathe? You ever like that? Must have been what it felt like. No, oh man, that's the worst thing ever. Drowning, and what's it called? What's when they burn you if you burn alive? It's called Isn't
it just being burned alive?
No, there's a word for it. There's a specific word that begins with an E.
There's a specific word for being burned alive?
Yeah, it begins with an E and an M. Not emulsification. I don't know, something like that. Anyway, but those are my two. Like, drowning just seems like the worst because you conscious. You aware. I'm finished.
Immolated.
That might be the word. Immolated.
I don't know why I'm not letting this go. Immolated.
I'm sure there's a word.
Kill or offer as a sacrifice, especially by burning. That's wild.
That might be the one. I don't know.
Because the other one is incinerated, and I think that's not it. I think you meant that's gross. Anyway,
being burnt or drowning is no fun at all.
No, and I think I can't even imagine what was going through my mum's head. Can't have been great. The fear would have been probably horrendous, and she probably remembers it very differently. Yeah. So that was my first one.
Get her on the show to ask her about that story.
I should.
Her version of it, because it'll be way different. Way different.
Very different. If she remembers it, it will probably be a very, very different outlook on what happened that day, for sure. All right, go on then, Tony. What's your second one?
Okay, my second one is cartoons.
Okay.
Cartoons. Rushing home from school to watch cartoons was like the pinnacle of being a kid. It was the greatest ever. We didn't have Sky or cable. There was no internet. So there was a very limited window when you got to watch TV for children. And I can remember, this will give you a kind of a clue of the year it was. I had a caffeine-free Diet Coke and a sherbet dab. And I went home to watch, oh my God, I can't think. The Lost Cities of Gold. That's what it was. The Lost Cities of Gold. Are you looking at me like, I'm a few years older than you. So
yeah, but I knew everything up until that cartoon. Everything up until there, I was like, I'm here. but I don't think I've heard of that.
The Mysterious Cities of Gold, the Lost Cities of Gold, I forget, man. But like, I can name you a million. The Masked Crusaders, He-Man, Ulysses, 80 Days Around the World, like just a cartoons, just a bit. He-Man, Thundercats, Transformers, best ever life, man. Best ever. Just go home, watch cartoons for like an hour, and then Blue Peter would come on, and it was time to turn off the TV. You knew once News Round got there, it was like no News Round, no Blue Peter. It's done. It's done.
I hear it.
Yeah, that's probably my another one of great, excellent memory. Just and Roger Ramjet, which I found on YouTube the other day, and I watched 2 episodes of it.
2 episodes of what?
Roger Ramjet.
Roger Ramjet. Roger
Ramjet. No. Oh my gosh.
Hold on.
He used to pop a little pill.
Roger Ramjet. If I see, sometimes I need to see like an image from it. No, I still don't know this.
No, mate. Pigeon Street.
In my defense, it aired in 1965 to 69.
Okay, I'm not quite that old. Yeah, but it was on in my childhood.
But where the hell were you watching this?
It was on TV. Like there was Wait Till Your Father Gets Home. Man, there was just so many cartoons. This was the kids. Sport Billy. Bunch of I just love them. Great stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, so cartoons were a massive part of my childhood. Great fun. So Linda,
I enjoyed cartoons as well, but I also liked like coming home from school. I really enjoyed like the kids programming. Do you know what I mean? Like the for me it would have been like the Tracy Beakers and stuff of it all, where it was silly, and it's a very silly thing to have on, but it was nice to watch it. I don't know, I just kind of get lost in the little stories, and yeah, it was pretty cool.
That was past.
I was a mix. I wasn't like a huge cartoon person, but I did have cartoons that I enjoyed to watch. Definitely
love the cartoon, man. Love a car, because I'm thinking of even more as I'm sitting here. Captain Caveman, the Smurfs, Space Ghost, man.
I've watched like 3 that you've mentioned there, so there's some crossover for sure. We're actually not that different in age, Tony.
No, I think it's the time when it was though, like because when you talk about Tracy Beaker, I'm pretty sure like I might have left secondary school by the time Tracy Beaker was on, so it's not the type of thing I would have been watching.
Yeah,
what year was Tracy Beaker? What kind of years are we talking?
God. I don't know. Let me Google it. Hold on. Tracy Beaker. I know that she's made some kind of this show's like come back a little bit. I would have been older too. What the hell? Tracy Beaker was 2002.
Oh yeah.
So I was still in secondary school, but I would come home and watch Tracy Beaker for sure.
I was an adult, and I've been an adult for quite some time in 2002.
Fair. No, I was in secondary school watching Tracy Beaker. Definitely not primary school though. That's too. I was too old for that. Okay. So my second memory. So I've gone for another specific one. Was when I had to fly alone to the UK when I was 7. So just a little bit of a backstory. So growing up, I was born in Kenya. Mm-hmm. And then I lived in a small country called Djibouti, which is like right by Eritrea and Ethiopia. And then I lived there for a few years, from like 2 till 5. And then I moved back to Kenya for like a year and a half. And then I moved to the UK for like the rest of my life. So my mum I was living with my nan because my mum had come to the UK to get set up with the house and this kind of stuff. So she came like 6 months before me. Wow. So she didn't come and like get me because I think the flight would have been ridiculous anyway for her to fly in and just to get me. So back in them days, I don't know if you can still do this, to be honest. Back in them days, you could fly, like you could just tell like cabin crew that there'll be a child unassisted and the cabin crew would look out for them. I don't think that's a thing now, but it definitely was when I was coming up. I think it helped. Yeah, I feel like there's definitely some kind of trafficking issue that would come up. It definitely wouldn't be okay. But no, so I remember the day. It was a public holiday in Kenya. And so I was off school. So the whole day I was just packing, and then I went to the airport. And I went to the airport with my nan, my mum's sister, so my auntie, and a couple of my cousins. And so we're at the airport, and it's like dawning on me. Bearing in mind I'm 7, it's dawning on me that like, yes, I'm going to get to see mum. I haven't seen mum in ages, but I'm going to this whole new place. I'm going by myself. My nan's not coming with me, who I've just been living with for ages. Like my aunt, everyone I know isn't coming with me. My friends aren't coming with me. So it just dawned on me when I was at the airport. It was like maybe an hour before my flight. And I start bawling and I'm crying. And they had like cabin crew and stuff, like introducing cabin crew to me. So I knew who they were and stuff. And this is again before I even get on the flight, and I'm crying. And I just remember my aunt going, "Don't you want to see your mum? It's okay. You're gonna go. You're gonna get on the flight." It was a night flight as well, so you're gonna get on the flight. You're gonna go to sleep, and when you wake up, you're gonna see your mum. I was like, okay, cool. So I calmed down, got on the flight. I remember the flight being so fun because I loved flying when I was younger. I remember the flight being so fun. I was eating hula hoops for the first time. Didn't know what hula hoops were, but they were on the plane. So I was doing the thing where I was with the cabin crew lady. Her name's Julie. I actually saw her for the first time, by the way, like a few years ago, and it was insane. But that was a whole thing. But yeah, so she was teaching me how to put like the hula hoops on my fingers. So I had the hula hoops on my fingers, and I was eating them, and I was teaching her a bit of Swahili. And then then I just flew to the UK. There was a whole thing when I landed, but finally I was reintroduced with my mom and stuff, which was really cool. But I remember that because it was such a I don't even know how to put it. I feel like as a kid I didn't really feel at home anywhere. Does that make sense? Yes. Like I didn't like. Because in my very young years, what I really have a memory of is Djibouti, a little bit of Kenya sprinkled in, and then it's the UK. So it was just London after that, and it felt it felt like really like I don't have that same connection. Like when my mom talks about going to Kenya for a trip, she always says, "Oh yeah, go back home," and I say the same thing because I'm having a conversation with my mom, but that's not really how I see it. Does that make sense? Yes. Even though it is like when I go there, I can speak the language. Well, they also speak English, British colony. But I can go and I can maneuver by myself. I can think I'm okay, but it doesn't feel like that feeling of like I'm going back to my home. And I guess the only place I ever feel that for is the UK. But then I get really aggravated that I feel that way for the UK because again I'm from a former British colony and even though I'm a citizen of both places, I am just like, oh, why do I feel like this is my home? This place is bad vibes. So I have this weird thing in my head constantly. So sometimes I do think about that. I think about just the journey and how like that flight was just so strange. It was fun, but it was just really weird. Like that being the last time I truly lived in Kenya was so strange, very very strange. Yeah. I just remember like being in London and seeing like it was very multicultural. I remember seeing like loads of Asian people and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then a couple years later, I moved to Essex, and it was just white people, and I was like, this is terrifying. It's like. It was just I remember those little milestones being very like, ooh, it's a lot.
Yeah, it is. That must be a lot for especially being so young.
Yes.
Like the transition would be because the thing is when you're young, you're unaware of like what the world is. You just have your very childlike perception.
Exactly.
Of the world. Yeah, it's weird because like I love England is my home. London is my home. But the only place that I feel is another home for me is when I go to Ireland.
That's nice.
I spent so much time there as a kid.
Yeah.
Like tons of family there. It's just it's like a welcome home every time I go back, and I feel so comfortable there. We took the kids there 2 years ago, I think. Last year, 2 years ago. And even my daughter's like, it's like home. It's like home. And I mean, they're the most welcoming people in the world.
I mean,
But that's kind of where I feel comfortable. But other than that, I don't like going anywhere. I don't like going on holiday. I don't like leaving my house to go.
Really? I love going on holiday.
Not a fan. Not a fan.
I like seeing like different I just like seeing different streets and different buildings. Even if it's just for a short time, I like to just go and see. Just a little jaunt, go have a look around, how the people doing it over here, and then come back.
Yeah, that's why I'm grateful for YouTube and the internet. I can have a look, Google Earth.
Absolutely fair. It's much, much, much more cost effective too, because all the places I want to go, I'm like, let me just go watch a video about it or a film about it or something.
But let me learn some terrible stuff about that country so I don't actually want to go there and I can just stay here.
That's also that's a little trick. We can go, actually, everywhere's messed up. Let me just stay here. Yeah.
Stay right
here. Fair. No, but it's weird. You're right. Like as a child, it's a strange, especially because I was an only child. I didn't really have I had extended family. So I had I guess you'd call them second cousins, because my mum's cousins' kids that I would hang out with who were also in the UK. And obviously, with black people, if you're my mum's friends' kids were also my cousins. It's all just family, auntie, right? So auntie, uncle, cousins, no blood at all, but it's okay. But yeah, so I had a lot of kids around me growing up, but I think because I didn't have a sibling that was experiencing the same thing at the same time, you can't really, you can say to an adult to my mum or whatever, but she's navigating in her own adult way. Do you know what I mean? And she's obviously got way more stresses. She's trying to make sure her kid's good while also she's good, and that's a lot of different things. For me, I think there was just no one that I could be like, hey, this is kind of crazy. What are we gonna do next? This is exactly. So that probably made it a little bit more overwhelming. But I mean, I managed. It gave me a lot of good social skills. I can fit in anywhere, so that's always good. Indeed. I can be in I've been in random job places or situations where life has taken me, and I've fit in fine. And I think it's because at a young age I just had to fit in. I had to go to a French-speaking country and just learn French as a toddler, and then I had to, move to the UK and move from London, where it was very multicultural, people that looked like me, to Essex.
So how many languages do you speak?
So fluently now it is just Swahili and English. But growing up, when I was younger, I could speak French, and then I did French at school and at university. So if I'm forced to, I could do a bit of French. I did French not as a French degree at university. I just did it as an add-on to a degree I was already doing. I didn't do a whole French degree. So yeah, French I kind of forget, but I could, if I'm forced to, I can remember some stuff. But yeah, growing up, I spoke loads of languages. I spoke Amharic when I was really young because my nanny was Amharic. When I was living in Djibouti, she was Eritrean, so her and her friends would speak Amharic, so I just picked it up. So when I was 3 or 4, I must have sounded like a genius because I had 4 languages under the belt, easy. Wow. That's amazing. And I can understand my I guess my real mother tongue, which is my tribal language in Kenya, which is Kikuyu. Okay. I can understand it, but speaking is hard for me because I didn't grow up speaking it. So.
Wow. See, I just got English. That's it, and I struggle with that. You know what I mean? Wow. So I learned something about Linda today.
You learned something about me. Yeah, I could do a little bit of Swahili, mostly slang though of Swahili, because that's again, you don't practice it, you do lose it. So
it goes, yeah. I know a couple of words in Swahili, but only from reading Monster Cody's autobiography.
Oh, okay. What do you know?
Kinsu, which is a knife, right?
Yes, kisu. Yeah.
Yeah, and I forgot the other one. There's only 2 words, and I forgot the other one. But yeah, kisu. There we go.
There you go. Nice.
Good stuff.
Cool. All right, you got another one for us, Tony?
Yes, I do. You might not even know about these. Do you know about mix-ups?
Mix-ups.
Mix-ups, a bag of sweets, right? You get a 10p mix-up.
Oh, yeah, they give you the penny sweets in the little white bag.
Yes. So when I was little, half pennies were still in circulation.
No.
Right? Yes.
You are joking.
No, no. Half pennies and pound notes, right? But so they had half penny sweets. So you could get a 10 pence bag of sweets, and it had 20 sweets in.
Kids don't know about that now, man.
They don't know about that, man. They listen. Even the little buzz they used to be.
You seen how much a Freddo is now, Tony?
That's the only mark of inflation. It's the only way to mark inflation is the price of a Freddo.
I saw that tweet where it was £1. What was it? £1.29 or something for a Freddo, and I said, "The world has ended. It's actually over, and we just don't know about it."
Do you know them little Buzz sweets? You used to get 3 packets for £1. That don't happen no more. Do you know what Buzz? They're just called Buzz. That's the brand name, but you see them hanging out.
Ones.
Yeah, but they used to get 3 for £1. Not anymore. You can't. But yeah, it's like 10p mix-ups, and I can remember, and this would have been about 88, 89. My stepdad gave me £1, and he said, "Go and get a £1 mix-up." Right? I'd never seen so many sweets in my life. Like the paper bag was, but like it was a bigger paper bag. It was
would have been 200 sweets. That's crazy.
Like, it was bursting at the seams. Like the sugar rush might have lasted for like 6 days. It was insane. But yeah, that as a memory, especially because of the price of sweets now, you go in and you look at something and everything is like 10 pence or above. And I'm like, it's about a bag of sweets for this price, you know? And now I'm getting a one big cola bottle.
Where are you even seeing 10p stuff? I've not seen a 10p thing. I've not seen anything cost less than £1 in ages.
You probably,
like, genuinely. I haven't seen anything cost less than £1 outside.
See, it's a joke, ain't it? It's a joke. And the chocolate's getting smaller, but the price is getting bigger.
Yeah, the price is crazy. Yeah, that's so funny that you said that. I got, what did I get? A Snickers. Like 2 weeks ago. Bearing in mind, I ain't had a Snickers. I was vegan for a long time. I didn't have Snickers in ages. I had a Snickers something after I wasn't vegan anymore. But recently, I got an actual Snickers bar. And I said, I held it like this. And I was like, crazy, or is this like way smaller than a Snickers bar used to be? Like, it was so small, but it was really expensive.
Yep, the price has tripled, and they've cut an inch off of it easily. It is ridiculous,
mad.
And that's one of those things. So yeah, the 10p mix-up. I look at the price of sweets now. I look at what sweets are. These kids don't know anything. They don't know the joy of having a mere 10 pence in your pocket and just getting a whole bag of sweets.
The joy they've got now is doing pick and mix, and pick and mix is like 40 quid. So it's not like you got pick and mix at the cinema.
Yeah, you go to the you got to take out a mortgage just to get like popcorn, pick and mix, and an ice cream.
It's outrageous.
Yeah,
it's really bad. And I'm like, I remember, I don't even remember last time I got pick and mix. It probably was a while ago, but I was, I get like gelatin-free sweets and like all of this. So I can't even have all the sweets that are there. So when we're talking about what I actually put in the bag, it's really not, we're not talking about heavy sweets, okay? And still, it's so expensive when you get to the till. It's unbelievable. Like this is marketed to children. Who's paying for this for their kids? What kid is going to the cinema like, yeah, I've got an extra 40 quid on top of the ticket and a drink, so I can now and already the ticket and the drink is stupidly expensive. I remember being a kid, for a £5 I could go to the cinema. I can go to the cinema and get a drink and popcorn for a £5.
Yeah, which funnily enough, one of my other ones. Yeah, it's going to bleed into exactly what you've just said. So no, it's your turn now.
Okay,
and then we'll go back to my one.
Okay, so this one, this is a funny one for me anyway. I don't know if other people find it funny, but as I mentioned, so I came to London when I was 7, and then so I'm now going to primary school. At this point, I've just turned 8. Actually, my birthday's in August, so I go to primary school. And I'm, making like little friends, whatever. I can speak English, but obviously I'm not English. So there's lots of English things going on that I don't understand, right? One example of this would be in the canteen at lunchtime. So I did not know the names of like half of the foods that were in there, right? I couldn't tell by looking at it what it was called. So I used to think, and it wasn't a long time, but it felt like a long time to a child. Everything feels like it takes ages. But for a while, I thought that because it was so loud in the cafeteria, and you got the lunch ladies on the other side of, you know, where the big trays and stuff are. When I'm ordering it, I can just get away with mumbling or saying non-words and point at it. And it worked. So I was thinking, they can't hear that I don't know what I'm saying. Well, one day, I don't know how long I'd been doing this for, but a lunch lady that I'd seen several times there, she just started telling me the names of it. Bless her. She was just like, okay, that's called blah, 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 blah. And I was like, and I have to retain that information. She had no idea. And she obviously knew that, okay, she doesn't know. She's just pointing at stuff here now. But I would just like say what, like, I don't even know, like my version of rhubarb under my breath while I pointed at something. And then she just put that, and then she started telling me, okay, this is called, you know, angel cake or whatever it was.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, okay. Now I know from next time.
Now you know what to ask for. So you don't have
now to point. I know what to ask for.
Now you can ask specifically.
I can ask specifically instead of pointing and saying words that don't exist and hoping that they thought I knew what I was saying.
Yeah, school dinner was great though. Like primary school,
fantastic.
Cake and custard in primary school is unmatched. Ooh. To this day. You just don't find it, but there's nowhere better. Cake and custard
and there's a lot of these places. I don't know if you see them around your way, Tony, on Just Eat, like these dessert places. They do like school cake. They do like actual school cake. Yeah. Or, even that's not. I see what they're trying to do, but it's not that. It's not what I don't know what was in there, but it was so good at school.
Yeah, do you know what? I've got a theory that it was something like it's something they've banned since then. Do you know, like how the 80s was so unsafe? Like you could just do what you want.
The number that has been banned for consumption. Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. It was just.
It's like old hooch. Do you remember the old hooch?
I remember hooch, yes, but I didn't drink it. Was it?
No, but like the flavored hooch. So they sell it now, but the stuff they sell now isn't the hooch that they used to sell back in the day. I remember drinking hooch at like 13, and that stuff would make you go crazy. It was like an apple drink, and it wasn't right, and it was banned for like 10 years, and then suddenly it came out again, but the ingredients were clearly different.
Okay, I wasn't a fan of it. It was the alcoholic.
Yeah, it was like an alcoholic, like I guess
it was a gateway drink. Essentially, it was a way to get you drinking alcohol, but it tasted like lemonade. That's kind of
there was like an apple one, an orange one. It was like it tasted like, you know how a J2O tastes, but it had alcohol in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
The gateway to alcoholism. You know what I mean? Get them started early. Yeah. What do they do? What would their drink be now? What do they drink nowadays? It must
be like a Smirnoff Ice or something.
That's the one. The WKDs.
WKDs. Yeah, they still exist. They're still there. They still got their versions of them.
To get you on the road to alcoholism nice and early. Break you in with something. Tastes like raspberries. It's fine. No worries.
Yeah. I mean, and then you start making your own money, and then you have to start buying like the super cheap ciders and the super cheap spirits, that stuff that you really shouldn't consume, because
4 liters for 89 pence.
Man, let me tell you something. The nights where we were making snake bite with white Ace, I don't even know if that still exists anymore. That cheap cider. My God, I'm genuinely surprised I made it through. I really am.
Ain't we all? That's what I mean. The 80s and the 90s, the stuff you could do. I wonder what it was like. The 60s and the 70s had to be wild.
I know, it has to be wild. It had to have been ridiculous.
Because the 80s and 90s was quite outrageous.
I mean, like the 90s was like the Wild West from memory. Like, even as far as like, even just the way people parented was different. Like, I remember you go play outside, go outside and be back at a certain time. Just go. Like, it was just get out the house, just be back at this time. You'll have dinner, whatever. But like
when the street light comes on, make sure you back when the street light comes on.
And that was it. Like, go outside. Go. Imagine now being like to kids, just go out. What are they going to do outside? There's no one out there for them. There's no other kids.
Get nicked. Like, that's all you can do now.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's terrible stuff. Which
what was the one you said had
well, no, what we just said leads on to my next one, right? Okay. Which is playing run-outs. Right?
Oh.
Run-outs, I think for 6 weeks holidays, like, I might have played run-outs every day. Like, at several times a day with different groups of children. Like, I lived on a big estate, like a big, massive estate in South London, but it was in the middle of other estates. So you only had to cross like one main road and there's another estate there. Then if you cross over the back, if you go to the back of the estate and cross over, there's another estate over there. So you just mix and match and make your way around, and you'd have different kids at different times, but playing run-outs. Then we would invent a new one where if there's 5 of you, you pick a 5-letter word and everyone gets assigned a letter. And then if you get caught, the other team has to beat the letter out of you.
Oh my God.
So, and the worst thing was if you give somebody the letter R, you would see them getting punched up for fun, because they're talking about and then he's talking about, oh, does it hurt? Oh, and you just beating people up. Because we're boys and we're dumb like that.
I was gonna say the way boys play is violent as hell.
And then I remember one time we was playing. I wasn't actually in. This was a Sunday evening. I was indoors watching London's Burning, and there was a commotion outside. So my stepdad's gone down there, and one of my friends, they're playing run-outs, and he was on the first floor balcony, and he jumped off to escape, but he landed on a fence, and it went up through his leg. And so by the time my stepdad got down, he said he was just sitting on the fence with a flap of his skin just wide open, but he's sitting there just talking, having a conversation. Well, like there's a proper sticks in my mind. But yeah, run-outs. And oh my gosh, another time we was playing on this other building, and someone said, "Oh, Bill." So we've all jumped off, but this building was like, it was surrounded by a fence. Everyone's jumped off. One kid's jumped off. He's hit the fence, but he's got off and he's kept running. We've got into the block, and then someone pointed and said, "Look." And we've all turned to look. He's looked down, and what he did was he landed on the fence and impaled himself. Yeah. But because of the adrenaline's going, he's just pulled himself off and kept running. Right. As he's looked down, there's claret. Like his tracksuit bottoms are just covered in claret, right? And when he looked down, I can still hear the scream. It was otherworldly. Yeah, it was,
because that's when the pain hit.
Yeah, when he looked down and he realized, and he just, and like I could still hear it echoing in my head, and like that's like run-outs was great fun. But those are 2 proper memories from just playing out as a kid. Like how you said, you go out, you get sent out in the summer holidays, you'd be out at 10 a.m. and you're not even home until like 7, 8, 9. Once it starts to get dark, who's fed you during this time? How have you, do you know what I mean? What have you done? But
someone will at some point. It will just figured itself out, really.
Walking in and out of other people's houses, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Their mum's giving
someone
you
will be having a sandwich, their kid, and they'll make an extra one for you or something. Yeah, it was just great normal. Day. Everyone would be out.
Absolutely great days. Yeah, that's another proper great memory for me, by playing out in the 6 weeks holidays, run-outs, football.
Yeah,
good fun.
6 weeks holidays especially was really, really great, because it's so interesting how we were always still going to hang out. Like in the neighborhood, you're still going to hang out with your friends. We didn't have phones. We can connect. We can like contact anyone. I remember having to go to like the payphone and like ringing my friends, or like ringing from the landline at home and being like, "Hey, okay, we're going to meet at this time." And you just had to be there. You just had to wait till the people arrived.
You had to get there. Or I used to walk around the estate just knocking doors.
Yeah, knock on the doors. If people were really close to me, like I lived where I lived in Essex, we had like what do you call it now? It was just like maybe 4 or 5 streets that were kind of all together, basically. And so there was one like center road that would separate both sides of the streets. But like all of my friends would pretty much be over there, unless it was people from school that I wanted to meet up with in the 6 weeks holidays. But other than that, I would be there. So I'd just go knock on their door. At that point, you just go knock on their door. That was easy. But yeah, just being out all day. There's a park down the road from us, and we would just sit on like a stump of a tree where the tree had been hit by lightning, and there was just a stump that was left there. So we just go hang out, sit on the stump there. Just weird, like just outside shit. Just outside all the time.
Death trap activities they had back then. Like, do you remember the roundabouts?
Yes.
I'm playing Pixie Up Dropsy on the roundabout, and you see people losing an arm. He's got caught under the thing and he's spinning round. Or them, do you remember the big rocking horses? You could fit like 8 people on them. Just yeah, they're gone. You can't see them anymore. Massive slides.
We shouldn't have seen them in the first place.
No, we shouldn't have. Do you know what I mean? We shouldn't have. They were a danger to everybody's health. But it was the 80s and the 90s. Do what you want.
We were where we were. It was a wild, wild west for sure. All right. Okay. Another one of mine is when I was for my 13th birthday, my mum took me to the Edinburgh Festival. So we got to see like whatever was going on in the streets, and I'd never been to Scotland, so that was really cool. But I just have this very, very distinct memory of I had my Discman, because I'd upgraded from the Walkman. Okay, I had my Discman, and I had Nelly's Country Grammar album CD in there. So I was just running that back, and I had my little headphones, walking around, seeing the sights, especially at night, because we were flying back the same day. I think either that, I think we had like either a really late flight or a really early flight the next day, and we weren't staying anywhere, so we just went to the airport. I remember being in the airport for a few hours, so I don't know, I can't remember exactly when we flew out, but I just remember bumping, Nelly, and singing EI or whatever it is on my Discman, and I remember like just seeing. I remember the two things the three things that stood out for me so much in Edinburgh was it was very hilly. The festivals were really, really pretty when it was like nighttime. The stuff that was out was really, really pretty to look at. And Scottish people can drink. I was like, everyone is drunk, but they're getting to where they need to get to. They're not like falling over or anything like that. They're going where they need to go. They are just very clearly hammered. And I just remember thinking, these people can really drink. Like they can really, really drink for real. So that was how I spent my 13th birthday with my mom.
That's lovely. The only time I've been to Edinburgh was, I think you was there. Was you there when I
was Yeah, I was there. I was there.
Only time I've been to. No, I've been to Scotland once before, but it was to visit someone in jail.
Was that
Edinburgh.
not Edinburgh?
I don't think so. I actually don't know, to be honest with you. But yeah, Edinburgh. The only time I've been to Edinburgh was that Respect VA.
Such a good band. So good.
It might have been to watch, but the crowd called me a pedo for like 2 whole minutes. They were just chanting.
That crowd was on stuff. I feel like the crowd was definitely trying to be the other party to the battle in all the battles that we were watching. The crowd was definitely very excited.
They were great.
For sure.
Do you know what though? I like those crowds. I like crowds who have come to enjoy.
Yeah, you get the odd annoying heckler, but for the most part, it's such a good vibe and stuff. So I'm sure it's nice to perform in.
That was good fun. And I'm just trying to think about the age gap between us, because Nelly, right? If you was listening to Nelly I was an adult when Nelly came out, man, and you saying you was 13, and I'm just over here like, how old am I really? God damn.
I think we've worked this out before. I think there's 10 years between us. That's probably why it feels that way.
That would sound about right, I think. That would sound about rough. Good, Benny. Not getting any younger, I tell you.
No, I hear that for sure. Do you know what's really funny now is seeing random posts either on Twitter or TikTok from people who are like shocked about things that I thought everyone knew. And it's just a reminder that you really should never argue with anyone online, because you could be arguing with a 13-year-old and they just have their worldview is just not there yet. They don't have one yet. And that's no shade on them. I didn't either at that age. Yeah. But if you were outside as a kid and an adult started arguing with you, that would be weird. So I feel like we should use that same mentality when we're online. I know online isn't real, whatever, but that's where people spend most of their time. Don't argue with strangers, because you could be arguing with a 13-year-old who has no clue about anything. They just really feel strongly about this thing for this one day. And now here you are, 40 years old, blood pressure up. You're stressed out because you argued with a kid about something that doesn't actually matter. Like, Yeah.
And he doesn't know about it. He's got no clue.
He doesn't care. In fact, in 1 hour, he's forgotten about it. He's on to the next thing that he's extremely passionate about because he's 13.
100%. I saw a tweet the other day where someone was like, my parents were born in the 90s. And I'm thinking,
Lord,
you cannot be old enough to be on Twitter. You can't. How? And I now started thinking about how, and I'm like, no, this is wrong. But that person had to have been about 12 years old. There's no way they could have been.
That doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't. It doesn't. But then I remember that if you was born in 1990, you're currently 35 years old.
Lord.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, because and if they had their kids young, you could 100%. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's like I've got.
So I still got that thing. I still got that illness of the 90s is not
like last week
30 years ago. I've got that illness of the when I start adding things up, when I'm trying to add up time periods, it's not 30 years ago, 95. That makes not a lick of sense. 95 was not 30 years ago.
It wasn't. It was just like the other day. Yeah, I was
Very
there.
strange.
I remember the other day. Yes, yeah. Time
95 is literally when I go on that flight by myself. That sounds insane that was 30 years ago in June. That's crazy.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, that's when I went to college. I was in college in 1995.
Nice. Yeah. What did you do at college? Was it just your A levels, or did you?
No, it's great. This is what I did. And then I went to another college, and then it got to winter time, and I stopped going because it was dark in the mornings.
Do you know what? This is why I said that this topic would be good, because our conversations went off, derailed a little bit, as it were, in the last time we did this, and we found that we lived the same life for a period of time. Because that is my story with colleges, by the way. Did you know that? I went to the sixth form of my school, and they expelled me because I stopped showing up. I was working part-time, and I was like, see, when I go to work for this, 3-4 hours here, they give me money. When I go to sixth form for these 5, 6, 7 hours, I get nothing. So I just stopped going. And then they just called and kicked me out. And then I went to another college. I quit there because, again, early mornings, I didn't want to do it. And then the third college I went to, I literally sat for my AS levels, and they kicked me out because I didn't do anything else. I just sat for my A levels. And then I found out after I'd been kicked out that I'd got an A in something, and I was so upset. And I was like, I'll get over it. But I did the whole college thing multiple times. Wow. Before I was like, because then it got to the point where I even took a year break in between, because it got to the point where I was like, maybe I don't want to go to university. Maybe this isn't what I want to be doing. Let me just work. And then I worked for that year, and I was like, no, I absolutely want to go to university because I cannot be working these jobs. I hate them. So, yeah, that made me go. But that was many, many years, many kicks out and left after.
Yeah, that's so we got a similar kind of path. Yeah, no, I wish I was expelled for not going. See, I got expelled for undisclosed reasons.
That's okay. That's all right.
I went to the next one, and I just stopped going in like December times. And do you know the most amazing?
December, January, it was too hard. I couldn't keep going.
You can't wake up in the morning. You can't go to bed when it's dark. Wake up when it's dark. And go
leave the house when it's dark. Leave college when it's dark. What is going on? Winter's always sucked, though, in our defense. Winter has always been the worst. But no, it's too much. It's too much. And then now I'm electing. I don't have to the same way as I did at school. So now it's like, it's not going to go.
Yeah, it's terrible stuff. No.
You got one more memory left?
I've got one more. And this is this is probably when I was younger. So the last year of primary school, which was 89. A friend of mine had an idea. Do you remember sponsoring? Did you ever do a sponsor signing?
Yes, I do remember sponsoring.
Sponsor swims, all of this stuff.
Well,
I had a friend who, I don't know how, didn't ask the questions, but he mocked up some sponsor sheets. So where I used to live was not that far from the city. So you could just walk over London Bridge and you'd be in the city, right? Like the proper city. Businesses, da-da-da-da-da-da. So we would get these sponsor sheets, go to London Bridge station, either the tube, the train station, or walk over the bridge and go into the city with our sponsor sheets and ask the adults there if they would like to sponsor our sponsored swim, sponsored silence, whatever we was decided we was doing that day. And we would collect a nice bit of money for a 10-year-old, if he was 10 or 11 at the time. And
allegedly, hypothetically.
Yes, hypothetically. Yeah. And then you go back onto the bits, back to the block, and chips, Panda Pop, and a £5 draw. And life was set. Life was sweet. And that is genuinely one of my favorite memories of being a kid, of swindling money from people, allegedly. And just you're a kid, you know, and like this is the days of £5 draws. You buy a little tiny bit of weed. You had to get older to bill it up for you because you didn't know how to do it. And yeah, like just a bag of chips, a drink, and you was cushy. Like that was your day settled. Do you know what I mean? Again, you play out all day, go home at 8 o'clock. You've had a great day. That's one of my most favorite, like, cherished memory of being a kid. It's going.
I mean, if I allegedly had lived the same life as you, Tony, allegedly had, then I would say sure. The only difference for me would have been the chips the same, Panda Pop same. I wasn't really allegedly wasn't into weed until I was much older. But what we would do instead, allegedly, is go over to the BP garage, and because I've always been tall, I've always been the taller one. They didn't care back then anyway, to be honest. I don't even think it had anything to do with my height. I think they didn't care. They'd make the sale. Go buy a box of 20 B&H matches, because you can't have a lighter for evidence. You can't have that. Box of 20 B&H matches and gum. And then we go over to that tree stump I told you about in the park, and we would sit there, and between the three of us, we're going to smoke these cigarettes because we all have to go home and no one's carrying them.
Yeah. And you get nicotine point, like you'd be dizzy from smoking so much so far.
Dizzy, getting up off that stump, just like not knowing what is happening. Because again, you're not smoking often, but when you are, you're having to smoke so much because no one can take cigarettes with them home and get caught with them. Bruh. The whole time going home, I must stink of cigarettes. I think at one point my mom was like, "Have you been somewhere where people are smoking?" I'm like, "Yeah, you know, I went to Gemma's house and her dad smokes, you know, and it just got on my clothes." Just making shit up.
Those was the days.
They definitely sponsored us as sponsored our activities. What activities? Mind your business. But they sponsored activities, that's for sure.
Yeah, mate. Them adults was very trusting back then. Like very, very trusting.
And isn't it funny that a friend, it's always a friend that knew about it and they tell you about it when you're just, a primary school kid or whatever, or a secondary school kid. You don't know anything. And your friend is like, yeah, there's this thing that you can do. And then you just start doing it with them. And then, allegedly.
Allegedly. It's a very important word. Allegedly.
It's very important. These are hypothetical scenarios we're putting out there for entertainment purposes only.
Exactly. Yeah. You couldn't do it anymore. You can't I don't think you can do that anymore.
Mate,
no
imagine
cash anymore.
No one's got any cash, first of all. You have to get a card reader. Have you seen the people on the streets with card readers now? And I'm like, all right, this is the thing.
I respect your hustle, man.
I respect it too, because no one's got cash. Nobody, I don't see people walking around with cash like that. The only time I take out cash to have on me is if I'm going to back when I used to get my nails done all the time, going to see my nail lady, because she's the only person I know that doesn't take card. So I will just give her cash. I'll literally go to the cash machine right before I go to her. So I don't have cash for long either. It's not, it's not a thing. All right. My final one then, Tony, is going to be, as I said, I ended up growing up in Essex. That's where I landed after being in East London for a little bit. Went to Essex. And made some friends and did some things. And by 15, I was earning my own money because I'm a late birthday. My birthday's in August. I said this. And I got my national insurance card in year 6, which everyone else does get. But I lied and told somebody that I was 16 already. And I got myself a little job, earning a little commission. They weren't checking these things, apparently. I just had an NI number. So I was earning a little bit of money. I had some pocket money, I had some money I wanted to spend. I wanted to go and do stuff. I wanted to have fun. And I actually started going out clubbing at 15.
Okay.
In a place called Romford in Essex. So I used to go out all the time. Yeah. On South Street, there's loads of bars, pubs, and there used to be clubs as well. I don't know if they still are there. It just feels like it's a thing of the past. But there used to be loads all on one street. And I started going out at 15. I remember I was even a member of a club. But you had to become, crazy. I had a membership and everything at 15. And they used to do you pay like 15 quid if you're not a member, or a tenner if you are a member, and it's all you can drink. So it's like you just got to take the glass back. So you have the certain drinks, obviously, and then you take the glass back to the bar and you can have another one. And it's all night. So I was taking a friend from school who hadn't come out with us. It was I think 4 of us, 4 girls. This one girl, Jess, she had already turned 16, and she had her 16 to 18 bus pass. That little card thing, you had your picture card so you can get cheaper fare. So she had that, and for some reason it ended up in my bag when we were getting ready at my friend's house. So I had her card. Bearing in mind, Jess, white girl. Okay, we don't look anything alike. She's a white girl. So her 16 to 18 card is in my bag. So when we're now getting searched by security at the door, just before we go pay, the lady pulls out the 16 to 18 card and goes, what, whose is this? And I was like, oh no, I'm a member here. That's not mine. And she's like, oh, okay. So she's looking at it, and Jess, we almost had it. For no reason, Jess goes, oh no, that's mine. So now they're like, we need to see ID from all 4 of you. Otherwise, none of you can come in. Obviously, we don't have ID. I'm 15 and my friends are like 15, 16. So we had to leave. So I was really mad because I was like, I'm a member. Guys, I'm a member. You should just trust that I'm older.
Whole thing.
Ruin the whole thing. So we couldn't go back to that place anymore, but we could still go back to other places. I made friends with like the bouncers, so they used to know my face. What was really, really funny is there was a period of time where they started getting a bit more strict about checking ID. And at that point I was like 19. And so I had my ID on me. And I remember a guy I won't say the name of the pub, but there's a pub I was at, I'd been going to for like 4 years at this point. And he had to ID me. He was like, I know you, but we have to ID literally everyone. I was like, yeah, cool. Didn't even think about it. Gave him my ID and he's like, this says you're 19. I was like, yeah. He's like, I've known you for years. I'm like, I don't know what to say. I have no idea what to say. Don't know what to tell you. But yeah, so that's a big memory of mine. I guess it's still childhood because I was literally 15. But yeah, going out all the time.
Yeah,
I had a great time.
I didn't rave that much. I did go laser drone. I got kicked out of laser drone.
Why did you get kicked out there?
I'm not gonna say it in public.
Do you know what? As soon as I asked the question, I was like, why did I even ask that? It's okay.
Do you know what? The next time I see you in person, you ask
I'm
me.
Asking you about it. I'm definitely asking you about it for sure.
But yeah, I did. I got kicked out of laser drum, and then I was standing outside wondering what I'm gonna do, and then a bunch of my friends just walked past, and I was like, "Wow, what are you lot doing here?" And then we went off and we went to Brixton and had more adventures.
Nice.
But even then, I think I was only 16 then. 16, 17. I definitely wasn't old enough to be going raving. And I think I looked 12 when I was like 16. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how they let me in.
I've always been like, what type of time were they on? Because the only thing I had on me was height. That was it. Like I've always had a baby face, and it was definitely worse when I was a child. So I don't know why they were letting me into these places, but yeah,
they
did.
Money.
Yeah, they didn't care. As long as you spend it, they really didn't care back then. They did not care at all.
Do you know where I used to go? I used to like going raving. There was right by the city airport, literally on the river. I forget what the club was called. It was to do with water.
Custom House?
Nah, it was to do. I'm sure it was to do with. Was it Riverside? Was it Waterside? Something like that. Anyway, but this we used to go in there, funky house, and just I go there with the pills, man, and then we'll just be there, jaw winging, one eye closed, yeah, just
Lord,
mate. But that, by then I was like my early 20s, like trying to because I don't like rap. I don't like going out and listening to rap music. It's like the worst night ever. It's to go out and people are playing hardcore hip hop. Like, I listen to this in my bedroom and I rap along. I'm not trying to dance to it.
You can't really dance to it.
No, you do that. You know that knees up.
Not really.
It's that one knee at a time. Hip hop. That crisscross dance. They used to do one knee, then the other knee. That's all you can do all night long. That's it. But yeah, so like funky house was my thing.
I liked a bit of funky house. I was never the indulging in any type of activity like that at clubs. Just alcohol was it for me. I just remember always being around people who did, people that I knew and also people that I didn't know, and I always knew what time of night it was when suddenly everyone was just like, oh my God, I just love it here. And oh my God, I just love you. And I love this. And I just love where we are. And I love it. And people just touching you. You're like, all right, I'm going to go. I've got to leave. I'm not on the same wavelength at all. I'm drunk and I want to go
home. You make friendships. Yeah. Like so intensely. I love you. Oh my God, you're my favorite person in the world. Do you know? Yeah, we'll see each other. We'll do this again. You never see that person again the rest of your life. You know,
didn't even exchange numbers. Won't have a clue.
Not at all. Not at all. Like, but I've still got memories of people I've met on that side. Like, oh yeah, I wonder what he's doing. I wonder what she's up to. Like, he was my best friend for like 4 hours. Do you know what I mean? After party, whatever. And then never saw them again. Not a day in my life.
No, that was it. That was the whole experience. Yeah. All right, cool. I think they were really good. I thought those childhood memories were really, really good. We're going to move on now to the final segment of the show, Tony. And the final segment of the show is called Mahakama. Now, Mahakama is the Swahili word for court. So this is the segment of the show where I get to judge people, places, things. I encourage my guest co-hosts to do the same. I'm trying to be less judgmental in my life, Tony. So I'm trying to limit it to a segment on the weekly show. It's not working well so far, but we move. We're going to do what we can. So I don't know if you know about the subreddit, Am I the Arsehole?
Yes, I do.
I love this subreddit. I feel like I get my, when I was a kid, I used to watch things like Jerry Springer and Ricky Lake and Sally Jesse Raphael. And I feel like this is the modern day version of that, is just seeing what people are up to, what type of mess they're getting into. So I found one that I thought was pretty good. And I want to get your thoughts on this, Tony.
Okay.
So the title of this is, Am I the Arsehole for refusing to attend my sister's no kids family gatherings because I'm the only one with children? So she goes on to say, I'm the only one in my family with kids, 2 young ones, ages 4 and 6. My siblings don't have children and my parents are retired. Recently, my sister moved into a new house and decided she's hosting family gatherings with a new rule, no kids allowed. She claims her house isn't kid-proof and wants more relaxed events. She framed it like she's doing everyone a favor, but let's be honest, it's just my kids. So this rule is clearly aimed at me. It's hurtful because there are family dinners and holiday get-togethers we've always celebrated together as a family. Now suddenly my kids aren't welcome. What bothers me most is how this will affect my children. My 6-year-old adores his extended family, and if he finds out he's being excluded, it would break his heart. I'm worried he'll never get over it. How do I explain to him that he's not wanted at these family events? It could create a rift between him and the rest of the family. He's sensitive, and I don't want him growing up thinking he's not important. When she told me about the no kids rule, I said I wouldn't attend if my kids weren't invited. She accused me of overreacting, but if this becomes the norm, what happens for holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas? Am I supposed to leave my kids at home every time? The rest of the family is siding with her, telling me to just go along with it and leave the kids at home for a few hours. My parents, who don't have grandkids from my siblings yet, think it's no big deal. They're even pressuring me to cut my sister some slack since she has had a tough time buying her house. But where's the consideration for me and my kids? To top it off, my other sibling, who's child-free, said, maybe this will be good for you. You could use a break. Goes on to say something a bit shady. I'm not going to read that. But then she says, am I the arsehole for refusing to attend her gatherings and calling her out? So we don't really say, am I the arsehole here? What we do is say mercy or no mercy. So this is twofold, Tony.
Okay.
First of all, mercy or no mercy for the sister creating this rule for her new house that she's just bought. What do you think?
It's nuanced. Because I understand that position. I get, if you don't have kids, and then again, you see people coming to your house and it's time for them to leave and whatnot, and children need supervision, children need structure. It means you've got to have your eyes on them. Yeah. And so I'm tempted to give her some mercy, right? There's some leeway. The thing I disagree with is that if you have continually had family get-togethers that are traditions, and then you start excluding people, then no, that's not on. But if you're just having, I'm just having a drink up on Friday, do you want to come? But we're not having kids. Yeah, no worries, man. Your kids don't come everywhere. They don't belong everywhere. And yeah, sometimes it'd be good for her to be around her siblings without her kids. It's a benefit. It's some kind of I will give the sister some mercy. I'll give her mercy.
I see what you're saying. And I think the way you've rationalized it is the reason I'm saying no mercy, because the sister has positioned herself as the person in the family that hosts the family gatherings. So if you are hosting family gatherings at your house, so we're talking about Thanksgiving, we're talking about Christmas, everything that the family does is now happening at this new house that you have bought. Congratulations. But you can't tell me my kids can't come. If it was a case of she just does like, oh, we'll do some drinks with the siblings and we just do this here and we just do, if it was that, I'd feel the same way. I wouldn't care. Like, it's your house, especially if you purchased it, you've gone through hell to purchase it, especially in this economy. I don't necessarily want kids messing up my house either. I get it. But if you have positioned yourself as the host of family gatherings for this family, you can't exclude some of the members of that family.
Do you know what? You're right. No mercy.
No mercy for the sister.
No mercy.
Now, I want to hear what you think about, because obviously by having no mercy for the sister, it ultimately means mercy for the person writing in, right? Because she's obviously upset that her kids can't go. I want to know what you think about the family, because the family is not speaking up for the kids either. The family is not saying anything, and they're basically siding with the sister, being like, get over it.
That's really weird. Because again, like you just said, these are two members of your family who will at some point go up and be the adults in this family.
Helping to look after you lot, by the way. And you don't have kids of your own.
And then how would you expect them to, like, when they grow up, and so now they're adults, you can invite them to your house. Why would they want to come? They're not going to want to come. They've never been there before because they was small or whatever. Like, so yeah, that's an awkward one, man. That's the family is in the wrong, because again, why doesn't someone just say, all right, we've been to her house the last 3 times. We'll have this at my house next time where your kids are welcome and we good.
Right.
We good.
Exactly.
We solve the problem. Yeah, I'm all about problems.
Yeah, they're not offering, from what she, obviously this is, it's biased towards the narrator, however the narrator's put this in, right, and the amount of information she's put in. But from what she's said, it doesn't sound like the family has come up with any other solutions. Like you said, oh, well, listen, we've had a few gatherings here, let's do it at my house and the kids can come. If they're offering up solutions, that's cool. If they're maybe trying to speak to their sister and say, look, be reasonable. If we're doing Friday night drinks, then fine. But if we're doing Christmas, bloody hell, the kids have got to come. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard because we don't have enough information for the family. she's obviously upset, and so I don't want to take her word that her family is just siding with her sister. Do you know what I mean? Telling her to get over it. I think they were probably trying to be nice and say, hey, you could use a break. You know, you don't always have to always be around the kids. It would be nice, get a babysitter, come over. So with the family, I'm probably more willing to say mercy, but they should intervene if it's every gathering. Now she can't bring her children. They should intervene for sure, I think.
Yeah, there should be a compromise there, because it's like you can't have every, and like, don't you want to see your nieces and nephews or whatever that you don't
want to see them?
Yeah.
And they're past the terrible twos. They're actually going to be they've got little personalities, and they're cool to hang out with at 4 and 6. They're not like tearing up the place like 2-year-olds and saying no and asking why. Like, they're just, you know, the kids.
They're kids, yeah. No, that's a weird, that's a weird dynamic though. Like,
it's tough.
Yeah. Families are weird as it is. You know what I mean? Like,
families are strange, man.
But yeah, that's a very, especially the grandparents. The grandparents kind of going along with it. Like, those are your only grandchildren. Your only grandchildren.
Right. You don't want to see them. You don't want to see them at dinners and stuff. You don't want to see them? All right.
Yeah, no, that's weird.
It is weird. All right, well, Tony, we have come to the end of the show. Thank you so much for joining me today. Is there anything you would like to promote or let the people know about?
Off the top of my head, no. I don't do much. I don't do much at all. I've got a battle this year, but I'm not telling you who it is. Haha.
That's great. Thanks, Tony. Can we not get the exclusive?
It's not in my hands. It's not in my hands.
I get it.
I think it's the June event. I think it's in June. Which
very nice.
I should probably start writing. We in March. God damn.
Yeah, maybe start thinking about some stuff, you know.
Yeah, I probably should before I do another Serious Jones and don't have my 3rd round written until the day before. Yeah, no, I got a battle in June. I can tell you the Tona Smith Show 2 is written.
Nice.
It is written. I've also written an album with Farmer G, and I have written an album with K-Nat from Quarantine. And at some point, I will get around to recording all of those bits. They're all written. Everything's done. Just lazy, just really lazy, and I don't like going to the studio.
That's good. I hear that. All right, cool. All right, well, we'll keep an eye out on that. I'll put your socials in the description to this video or to this episode, wherever you're listening to it. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that. And absolutely, whenever we have that announcement, if you are a battle rap fan, even if you're not, show up and see Tony in action in June. That would be very cool. Get some tickets for that. Cool. All right. Well, listen, if you like this episode, please do share it with a friend. Go back and watch or listen to previous episodes. If you're listening, please do give me a rating on Apple or Spotify so we can reach some more listeners. And if you're watching, engage with the video. Okay. Tony is on the show. He's appeared again. Please engage with this video. Comment some childhood memories. Comment what you liked, what you didn't like. I don't care. Just say something. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next week.